Hey guys, this is Mike from Manzgear. Sorry, this is my Smith & Wesson Airweight 38 Special plus P, and right now what I'm gonna do is I am going to install the Apex Tactical Specialties trigger springs duty kit. So we'll see how that goes. So the first thing that you do is check to make sure that the gun is safe. So gun's safe, open the cylinder. The next thing you do is take a 3/32 Allen wrench and take this screw off to take the hand grips. Apparently there's a little piece in there you got to be careful of, so we'll see what that is, and then I'll get back to you after that. Okay, so the next part of this is you get a small flathead screwdriver, and you are going to remove these 3 screws from the side panel here. So make sure it's also important that when you take them out that you put the exact same screw back into that spot, because you don't want to mess up anything on your gun. So, and also be careful of the finish. Make sure you get a flathead that's small enough that will fit on the inside without scratching this side plate here. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll check back with you guys. Okay, so now that we have those screws out, alright, and the screws are in order the way that they came out, notice on this one screw, I don't know if you can see it or not, but Smith & Wesson used red Loctite on it, so they may be tough to get out, so just be careful with them. And another tip, and I'm kind of doing this video right off of the Apex Tactical video, of how they say to take it apart. You don't want to use a screwdriver to pry up this side plate. They recommend that you take it with your finger like this and use the back end of the screwdriver to tap on the frame to pull up on this. And it's taken a little more effort than just the tapping, but so, and I'll show you guys when that's done. So, but do not stick a screwdriver in there to pry it up. It's a big no-no. So, alright, sorry about it. I got an air conditioner going in the background, so sorry about the noise. But so now I have the side plate off. You can see everything in there, and the next thing you want to do is remove the mainspring. And in order to do that, you need to put pressure on the trigger, and you need to get a paper clip. There's a little tiny hole in there, and you're going to put the paper clip through that hole. Okay, and that will allow you, should be able to take the trigger off, mainspring, just like that. Make sure you keep that paper clip through that hole there so your spring doesn't go flying. So put that in a safe spot. Now you removed your mainspring from the trigger housing area. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to want to do is remove the hammer. And I kind of did this before this, but basically you pull the hammer back, the trigger back, and then the hammer will set back to this position, and when it's here it's loose, and it should okay. My hammer's trying to embarrass me. There. Okay, so now the hammer's out. Set that there. And then the next thing is this little, is a little slide spring thing. Normally they have like a little forked tool that you can use to push this in around this pin, and then you kind of, once it's pushed in past the point of that pin this way, you kind of lift it up, but watch it because there's a little spring in there, and it will shoot off into, I don't know, Cleveland or wherever. So, sorry, I'm trying to get focus for you. So be careful when you get that. I can't do this on film, so I'm sorry, but again, you just need like a little, you either need that revolver tool that goes in there, it's got a little fork thing, or you can use a flathead to push the bottom of this in and then up. Just be careful that spring doesn't come out. So that's the next thing that you want to do. Okay, so this is that little piece that was here that you push in and up over this pin. Okay, so now that's out. Again, be careful with that spring because that's really gonna fly out of there if you're not careful with it. So now that that's out, this is where you are. You should just have your trigger here, and I don't know, the rest of the doodads you see in my gun. So let me get to the next part of the video. Alright, thanks. Okay, so that the last piece that we talked about, that what I call the doodad, is called the rebound slide, and this is it out. It actually was back in here like this. Sorry, the other way, upside down. This bottom part that articulates with the metal here as the trigger's being pulled, you can actually polish it. Take like a little Dremel tool with a cloth attachment and just polish it with like some jeweler's rouge or something, but don't use anything like super abrasive on it. But if you polish it, that will help with your trigger pull as well. So sorry about the focus there. So that's something you might want to take time out to do before you that, and if there's any crap on it like carbon or whatever, then I would clean it up as well when you have it out. And then the next thing that we're going to be taking out is the firing pin, which this little pin right there, that just pulls out, and then the pin will come out the back. So, and again, I'll have to do this, and then I'll show you where we go next. Alright, so this is the firing pin and the spring that goes inside, that has the tension on the firing pin, and the easiest way to do it is to push in the back of the firing pin, but just be ready because it might shoot out. If it's really dirty, it'll take a little effort, but just keep pushing it in and out. And then there's this little hinge here in the bottom that you can get like a piece of a paper clip to pull it out. But when you get that, and then once you're done with that, then you're going to be at the point where you're ready to start putting in the Apex kit parts. So these need to be put elsewhere so you don't mix them up and then reinstall the old parts, because that's the last thing you want to do after you just went through all of this. So alright, so again, put the parts that you're going to be replacing elsewhere. So okay, so the next thing that you're going to want to do is get the firing pin spring, and you're going to want to fit that in first in the hole where the firing pin came out of, Apex Tactical recommends taking a punch and putting the punch over that hole, and then using a screwdriver, a non-magnetized screwdriver, which I think I just grabbed a magnetized one. Way to go, Mike. And use that to guide that screw or the spring into that hole. The next thing is the apex firing pin with that little slot on the bottom, because that's where that slot's going to articulate with the firing pin retaining pin that you used. So now when you have that in, I don't know if you can see it or not. It's kind of dark in my viewfinder, but so you push that in, and then you take, not real hard or real far, but then you take that retaining pin and drop it like I did. Now, and then push that in, get that lined up. And then just check it to make sure that it doesn't come out. And then you're good to go with that. Alright, so I have replaced the old mainspring trigger spring with the apex trigger spring. As you can see, I don't know if you can see if it's green or not. That video again looks dark to me, but so that's replaced, and now what we need to do is we're gonna get that back in along with the hammer and get our gun back together so we can get back out shooting, and I'll show you next. Okay, so now that you took care of that main spring part, you will put your finger on the trigger like I have here, and you're going to pull it almost about all the way back to the point where you can drop the hammer in. Now, your trigger should be back far enough so that the hammer moves freely, and with the hammer moving freely, then we'll bring it back up. We'll set where you let the trigger go, and then it'll be like ready for the normal trigger pull. At which point, what we're going to do is we're going to take the mainspring housing here, and we're going to, I can get it on here. Put that in. Okay. And then the next thing we're going to do is put that in place. We're going to... Am I still in the frame here? Okay. So that's in place. And we're going to bring our paper clip out. There you go. Mainspring is back in, just like it should be, like it was before. You can check and see all the parts are working. So that's it. And from there on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some Loctite. I think all I have is blue right now. I'll have to get some red for later, but I'm going to Loctite the other screws when I put this side piece back on, and put my slide or my grips back on, and then hopefully this weekend I'll have time and it won't rain and we'll be back at the range. So thanks for bearing with me throughout that video. I know Apex has done their own, but I don't know, I like to do my own stuff, and I don't know, I guess it's kind of fun too to throw a video out there. Another thing is I am still going to be shutting down Manzgear relatively soon, so if you guys want to get any last orders in, please contact me. If you're ordering multiple items, I'll be happy to work out a deal on the price. If you want to order one thing, then it is what it is. But thanks to everyone that's ordered in the past and helped my little business be what it's been, and thank you to all the men and women that are serving for our country in the armed services. We appreciate your effort and your blood and your sweat and your tears. So anyways, I think you guys can handle the rest of it. So have a good one. Talk to you guys later. Okay, so I lied. I found some red Loctite. So here it is, all back together. Considerably lighter trigger pull. I guess stock they're supposed to be around 12 pounds, and this kit makes them around close to 9. But even that, it's still, there's a degree of smoothness that the kit has brought to it, and I don't know, for $25, really? I mean, if anything, these little accessories, these little kits, if you can do them by yourself, it just makes you better. It just makes you more in tune with your gun. It makes you more, adept at what's going on with your gun when you fire it, why things do what they do, and maybe you don't want to be that way, but that's how I like to be with all of my stuff. I want to be able to fix it and do everything myself. So anyways, I don't know how long this video will end up being, but long and drawn out. But thank you for watching. Hope this finds you guys well, and I don't know, have a great day.